So it began. Number 4 with the art string. There we go. It's gonna feel a little weird not having the headphones every time I'm doing this, doing a recording or live streaming. And yes, I did cut my hair tomorrow. Yes, so, yeah, I'm not gonna go into it. Anyway, but I will thank my friend Corey for the glasses. So far seem to be helping out. But yep, this week's art streams, we're going to be doing a little, going back to an older sketch, some Mass Effect fan characters of mine. Uh, kind of did a short run of some drawings, some comics with the characters years ago, kind of just before I started getting into the whole digital art scene. And so, I started off with the just old pencil and paper with these characters, and then soon transitioned into digital art. And I had a brief storyline that I went through and completed with them, and then I started getting an idea of like another storyline, the next uh, adventure for them. And I started putting together kind of the comic cover that I wanted for it, and just got a quick sketch for it. But then uh, life started happening, and I got more invested in some of my own original characters that weren't based off another franchise, and that's what uh, Worlds Apart came from. Started building Worlds Apart, which is another thing that I need to get back to, thanks to life getting in the way, but we're getting back on track slowly but surely. So yeah, it was just a group of uh, Mass Effect characters based on like the N7 program in Mass Effect 3, the multiplayer component. And so it's like I had just a little cast fun characters, and the characters that we're going to be highlighting and working with is actually going to be my favorite of the group, Mr. Havoc or Telek, and we're gonna have, I think it's Destruction. I hope it's Destruction. Yeah. The Hanar Spectre, uh, called him OPEC in the thing. But they're gonna be the characters that you're gonna be seeing me working on in this piece. And so I'm gonna close out of that, and we'll just minimize that. I got some of the things if I decide to bring up the some of the pages that I did for them back then, but here we go. This is the image that I started with way back when. Kind of zoom out so you can see the whole thing. And so this was going to be a comic cover. So I was like, all right, well, I gotta have the central characters that we're dealing with the drama front and center, and the situation that they're gonna get themselves into. And so that's what I started with. So it's like these two main characters are in a perilous situation, and I started really getting the detail, the lines and stuff done for the characters, and then slowly, puttered out as I was getting going. But I mean, most everything's there. I mean, the only other things I would throw in here is just maybe little, you know, highlights to the background, like what's going on, kind of some of the scenery, just kind of, some. It's gonna be some catwalks or something like that with some Cerberus soldiers up here, maybe. So something like that. But uh, most of the detail with the characters on here is pretty well complete. I'll probably need to kind of uh, actually finish up a little bit down here. I might just really quickly try and just clean up, or at least bolden the lines that I'm gonna need to have for the legs here. But yeah, the story with this one, I'll kind of do like maybe a quick recap of what the story was in the first uh, comic series, comic run, if you will. And it was really simple. The team gathering with, I think I got the wrong color that I want to have. That's like the absolute black. I don't want the absolute black. I want kind of like charcoal black. Yeah, that started being like absolute black. So I had the main team, headed off by captain, the lead Turian, with basically briefing the rest of the crew, which was, you know, Neen, my Quarian sniper, based off my most played uh, uh, character in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer component, which was a uh, Quarian infiltrator with the M98 Widow. That was my favorite out character and just the whole uh, loadout, you could say. So her uh, her Geth buddy, K Dash, as I called him, as I decided to name him, and then Telek, and then they had their Volus pilot, and so that was the crew, and they were meeting up with a Hanar Spectre to go on a mission, and they were going to be infiltrating a Cerberus base and dealing with the enemy there. And so there's number of shenanigans, jokes and whatnot that uh, for each page, each panel, uh, kind of highlighting some of the quirks for each character, the way that the Hanar speak. Uh, kind of, I had a joke with the like Shadow Strike. It was literally like just this Hanar was hiding in a shadow and just striking out from the shadow. I thought that was clever, especially when I was like I made it like a shadow that just didn't belong anywhere. It was just out in the middle of a hallway. And so they go through their adventure. It was a quick little thing. The Hanar Spectre kind of got you know captured, and the rest of them had to bust him out, again bust out, and Telek had his own plans on how to deal with the Cerberus base, and that plan, like most of Telek's plans, involved a bunch of explosives. So uh, they get out of their epic action hero style and kind of wrapped up the first little story. And so it's like, all right, well, what do I want to do for um, another story? I kind of wanted to continue off sort of immediately where I left off, kind of with the characters in that situation, and ended up having the story kind of um, take place in a very specific point in the Mass Effect 3 timeline, in the campaign. And I decided that I wanted it to take place kind of just at the point in the game where Cerberus attacks, the group Cerberus attacks the Citadel. And, Commander Shepard has to fight them off, and there's the whole big thing there. And it's like I decided that's where I wanted to have the story kind of get centered around. That was the anchoring event to kind of tie it with Mass Effect 3's um, timeline. And so I was like, all right, start off. It's basically just a quick, um, the crew have debriefed. They're kind of on shore leave after their successful mission, and characters just kind of either relaxing, going about, or needing to take care of some maintenance and chores, depending on which character was doing things. And I also was trying to build the cast a little bit by bringing in well, I was kind of thinking of having this character be, it was going to be a female Turian news reporter who actually had history with the captain of the team, and so kind of like an old uh, love interest coming back reporting on the the N7 war efforts going on, and getting interviews with the captain, something like that. So that was a uh, character that I was introducing and some of the narrative arc uh, that was going to get built up around that. And I was also going to use that story as a time to kind of spend a little bit more time and develop the villain character that I had introduced, but for like one page uh, in the initial comic that I did. Now, Mr. What was it? Dr. Magnesium, I think is what I named him. So just kind of, a weird mad scientist kind of Cerberus villain. And I was going with the idea that, he survived, not completely unscathed, but he survived the destruction of his previous base when Telek implemented his plans and blew everything up. And he's out for revenge. He's got a vendetta against, you know, this Turian in particular. Kind of wrecked his plans and allowed the Hanar Spectre to escape his grasp. So, uh, the Cerberus strike on the Citadel is a perfect opportunity to go in and snatch up a couple of key targets that kind of ruined his initial plans, his initial schemes and machinations. And so, what in the middle of the Cerberus attack on the Citadel, Telek and the Hanar Spectre uh, get captured and end up in this predicament here. So that was the initial what's going to happen. Then the rest of the crew gotta find them and rescue them. And there's the story. So that was the gist of what I had back in the day. Every now and then I return to it and kind of think about, well, what if I return to it mentally and then start thinking about it. And I'm like, all right, uh, how would I tell the story? Keeping all the same elements. What would I do? How would I write the dialogue? What are some of the jokes that I could implement? Visual jokes, actual, comedic lines and things like that. And I've toyed with it, and even to the point of, I started building up I kind of had a cast of Cerberus troops built up as well, and for like a different story project that just there was no way it was ever going to come to fruition, so it just kind of stayed a quick little story exercise way back in the day. Um, and I was like, well, maybe I could introduce them and have them kind of play a role. So I was kind of building a cast of Cerberus characters as well that would have some shenanigans as, uh, you know, Dr. Magnesium's plans started to come apart yet again as the rest of uh, the heroes, the rest of the N7 crew, uh, come to the rescue of Telek and the Hanar Spectre. So, I was kind of still, even to this day, kind of toying and fleshing out uh, the various story elements. And I hope that's not the tool I'm looking for. What's the tool I'm looking for? I'm looking for this tool. That's what I'm looking for. So one thing, it's like same program I'm used to on my other computer, but uh, different version of it. So I just want to try and get some of this a little more. This be a slightly different color. Let's go with like just a dark blue. That way I can be like, okay, this one's definitely a different spot there. If you really want to get, well, that just really stay in the lines. That's one thing I hate about sometimes with this tool. You go too fast, it goes out of the lines. It's like it doesn't know what you're doing. So, yeah. Just try and get the vat of deadly material that our characters are hanging over fleshed out here a little bit. And get it so you can kind of get a perspective of uh, what it should look like. As well as me trying to get my perspective of what it's supposed to look like. Because I feel like it's not. Okay, no, I see it now. I see it now. That's because I don't have this line wide enough yet. Oops. That needs to go all the way across. Yeah. And then we'll just do the top one here. There we go. And try and clean that up. So really quick, clean that up a little bit. That way, I got the perspective just right. There we go. Because you're looking at it from below, kind of from an angle there. Oops. Erasing the wrong line here, right there. Alright. Let's go ahead and got that layer going. Okay, so this I could clean off because that's the old, it's erased, yes. This needs to be filled in white. I can remember where the fill thing is on here. There we go. Oh, I want. Okay. Because I'm going to start the line work now. Start the line work on these guys here. This is still, yes. Just gotta make sure. Yep, alright, that's good, nice size. Coloration there, good thick lines. But yeah, the process of designing my style for doing some of these characters, it went through a couple iterations, especially with the Turians. I had a couple styles that, or a couple attempts that were a lot closer to staying in line, being more detail oriented. Um, and it worked as like it was easy to tell that that's a Turian, definitely you know Turian, but it just took forever to draw. So I was like, I gotta find a faster way of drawing my Turians, and I wanted a very you know nice, easy to do, recognizable kind of cartoony style, and that's what soon led to this version of uh, Turians that you see before you, and it allowed me to have a much faster uh, way of drawing them, as well as being able to be more expressive with them. I mean, they've you know in the games they've got fairly small eyes. Their eyes are not the most expressive part of them. It's like the rest of the face, the carapace, the mandibles, and everything else uh, plays more into their expressions. And you know, uh, when you're doing cartoons and stuff like that, the eyes are very key for a lot of characters with their expressions. And so it's like I knew I wanted to have that be a thing with my style of Turian. And so I was like, okay, they got to be a very big focal point of the character's face. And so I've managed to just kind of settle on a way of having basically the eyes becoming a larger focal point uh, to give that added expression while not taken away from the overall look and design of the Turian. Um, they kind of have almost this, just the eye sockets uh, almost can fill that role of uh, it's hard to describe like without bringing up side comparison, but I mean the people who are know what I'm talking about. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. Normally this right here would be the eye, and then there's the pupil right there. And so I basically just took the whole eye socket, and made that the whole eye, so that the little dot that was the pupil becomes what is normally the size of the actual Turian eye in the character. So it's like just taking the proportions and exaggerating them in their spot without exaggerating them completely and changing the full shape of the face, the full shape of the head. So that's what I ended up doing, and Telek is my most expressive character that I've done for the Mass Effect fan characters. Uh, he's also been the one I've drawn the most for sure. You could say fan favorite, personal favorite. So yeah. Um, and yeah, sort of a little reason why he became the icon that I use for like social media and stuff like that in any place that I post online. I've made him kind of the little icon for me. It just at this point it's tradition. I don't have anything else uh, up yet to replace him as the social media, the internet uh, profile icon art for myself. And I was like, he gets to live on in uh, going forward as just that's his place right now, and until I somehow decide on something else that more suits, it's like no, he suits me right now. He definitely does. He's just a little bit of that goofball character, He's very the comedic guy. He's just one of those characters that's near and dear to my heart in the way that he acts and interacts with the other characters. You know, I've got multiple characters that tend to be and fit in that mold that Telek falls into. Plus, I just really like his name. It's a favorite name of mine. Uh, Originally for kind of a another uh, fictional series of mine that was supposed to build up like around a movie series back when I was younger, like teens, when I wanted to kind of try and go into filmmaking, which never came to fruition, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy not pursuing a career into Hollywood. That's one thing I'm like I'm okay with that nowadays. So, but uh, I'm gonna try and do something with that fictional franchise someday. That fictional storyverse someday. The most immediate thing that I can probably gonna do with it is sort of just do like a an archive site with the you know creatures, characters, locations, and stuff like that. So just nothing that's gonna be story heavy or story driven. So it's just gonna kind of be an archive spot for it. But Telek was a name for some individuals in sort of a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet situation. Um, and I just always liked the name. And as I was making the Mass Effect uh, N7 cast here, I was like, alright, what names could I do? It's like, well, I got these names. I like these names. I want to use these names. So it's like, alright, this character that I really like, I'm going to have him be Telek. Um, and it stuck, it fit, it made the name take on a new life from what the original character was, which was, a lot more serious. I mean, you're talking about a Romeo and Juliet kind of situation. It's more of a drama. It's a trying to think. Comedy. That's the term. Comedy or a tragedy. Um, Whichever way is actually the more accurate uh, direction with it. I'm no playwright expert. I've never actually even read Shakespeare before. I just know it by proxy through uh, TV and film. Uh, so, yeah. Oh man, it has just been so long since I've drawn these characters. It's just one of those things that you don't think about too often as the creator, as the artist sometimes. Now, it's nice to just, it is nice to go back every now and then and explore uh, older characters of yours. And it's like, can I still draw them just as well as I did back then? And it's like, so far, it's just like, it feels natural. It really does. You know, I'm not overly concerned about every little detail. I'm getting flashbacks to uh, drawing on pencil and paper these characters, and you just get really close down and intimate with the pencil and paper there, of going in and turning it just right, just so the flow. The only thing that I'm upset about is I can't disable uh, when I want to do it, I can't do it, but accidentally hitting the button that brings that up every single time on the pen. As far as I know, there's no way I can disable that on this PC yet. So, hope I can find it someday, but till then, I just gotta work around it. It's been a bane of every single one of these art streams for me. So, but since it's just kind of nice and smooth going through here, the you know line art just feels like it's working. I know I'm probably still taking longer than I really should with things. Like I don't expect that I'm actually going to get this finished quite as fast as I would like. Let's see, what's that? Yep, that looks good. I want to get those ropes drawn in up here real fast. Actually, I'm gonna bump that down just a little bit. I want to get those done on a different layer. Ropes, synthetic chains, or whatever Cerberus is currently using to have them tied up and hanging precariously over a vat of uh, what will look like acid, but is actually nanomachines designed, and this is where we get carried away with suspension of disbelief and how science works and all that stuff, but we try and give it a good explanation anyway. Nanomachines that are designed to dissolve or eat away all biological material that is not that does not have human DNA in it. Because Cerberus is, you know, one of those kind of uh, uh, you know, organizations. Like certain words I need to kind of avoid on this platform. It's one thing talking about them in conversation out in the world, amongst your friends and stuff like that, or in certain online forums of, like official forums for the game or something like that. But, you know, other places like, maybe can't be that open with the terminology. But, yeah, there we go. Get that cleaned up a little bit, just a little bit. That's one of the things, like, I talked with some artists years ago when I first started posting this stuff online. And I was like, uh, you know, when I'm drawing, I use a lot of layers. Doing the digital art, I use a lot of layers. It's like, you know, sometimes you know, some of them just using a handful of layers. Just a two, three maybe. I'm like, nope. I I paid for the software so that I would have unlimited layers. I'm gonna use all of the unlimited layers available to me. And I've come close to uh having my uh MacBook uh almost unusable sometimes because just too many layers, and then the program starts lagging real bad. I'm like, maybe I need to start combining some of these layers down. And what's the file size? Oof is the file size. That's what it is. So yep, that's just how I roll when I'm doing this stuff. I've gotten much better, you know, uh, combining things down as I go along. Because as soon as I get all this stuff up here done, the line work, what I'll do is I'll go in and just carefully clean that up right there. Clean this up right here. Then it should be good to merge this down. And there we go. I have now brought the layer count back down. I should maybe stay a little more zoomed out because I was going a lot faster with the lines doing it that way. And I'm absolutely going to run my voice ragged this evening with this behind over this button. I'm gonna have to hold the pen in a very different position than what I'm used to. Like a lot closer to the end here. Like I'm gonna hold it back here. I'm hitting the button. I'm gonna hold it all the way down at the base. That'll work. Alright. This up just a little bit so we can get most of this line work all done. Move on to some coloration. You know, the fun stuff, the coloring of the drawings. That's always the fun bit right there. Here, I think this is just difference between the limb. Like there's his harness here, and then limb. I think that's what it is. So then coming back to a drawing this many years later, hope you remember what the details are you got going on in the image. I'll get his little face markings started there so that we know that's the face end of the Hanar, not the non-face end of the Hanar. Oh, I don't like it. I gotta zoom in. That's the one thing. If you've seen at least the last two of the art streams I did, where I worked on the Machine Warrior, so the picture with 4 in it. It's like, yes, I get in really close a lot of times as I'm drawing these things. So I'm gonna just get loose and goose. Some nice thick bold lines. It almost doesn't need to be that thick right there. Let's get right there. Like it not coming out this far is what I mean. Not the thickness of the line, just the how far it's coming out there, because you see the legs and limbs are going down this way, so it's gonna need to be drawn in. So let me finish the bottom. Maybe. I don't like this angle. There we go. Gotta figure out where we're gonna have it go. So if that's the case, I might have it get brought in a little bit more like this. And then out like that. There we go. Still a little weird, so I'm going to play with that just a little bit more. You know, maybe we'll have it kind of come up. It's a joy about doing it digitally. Yeah. We'll see that if we pull back out, that looks good or not. and how much we might have to clean or adjust. But that might do it. So let's back out. It's better than how far it was wrapping out there. So, zoom back in and just kind of clean it up a little bit more. So there's not all the little loose bits. You can see them better without the sketch layer underneath. There we go. Finish up. Characters. Yeah, I'm going to get to the point now where I'm going to end up focusing and talking less and less. There's only so much I can blabber on about, without, immediate back and forth with another individual, like in the room or something else like that. Especially when I'm working on portions of the sketch that are, like I just, a little while ago, kind of more finalized what the outline was supposed to be. And even here, I think that might be, maybe I need to do a quick reference look here. I don't have I got pretty much all my other art on the MacBook, so I didn't pull over a whole lot over onto the PC for this, so I gotta go back to the MacBook for more of the reference stuff. And I'm looking for Telek in civilian outfit. There we go. Okay, yeah, so, that's interesting. Do I have any other references that show the legs all the way down to at least to the knees or below? No? Not so far. Not seeing it, so that's one thing. Wait a second. Okay, nope, that'll be useful. Potentially useful. There we go. Forgot about it. Did that image. Did a Christmas image with the group. Christmas shot. So, I will do some slight adjustments down here with feet, maybe. Which is going to redesign kind of what's going on with Telek's feet, his legs. Because we're basically going to kind of give him... That's going to be tough to decide on something right now, on the fly, that'll look good. Either that, or I'm just going to completely go a different path from the reference images I have here. I'm going to meet in the middle somewhere. That's what we're going to meet in the middle. And, build something new. And that's what we're going to end up doing. Which means I don't think I need to do is actually move this down a little bit. Nope, That's gotta stay where it is. That's kind of the general placement on terrain anatomy. So, oops. Okay, why did it swap colors on me? Oh, it's because I'm on a different layer. That's what. Thing. So I got enough material and items around me to kind of start referencing for the characters, whether it's my own work or some figures and artwork here and there scattered around the room. I had to stop for a moment to check where this little leg piece here, uh, just how high up on the shin it's supposed to be, and I had to go and check one of the uh, Garrus Vicarian figures I have sitting up on a shelf up there. I was like, oh, okay, that's higher up on the shin than what I was just about to do. I was going to move it a lot lower. I would have thrown the whole character off balance. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Button. That was very helpful to me. I couldn't have done that without you. Just a little bit of a knee there. And we got to add in what we're doing with the legs here. Something new, something different. Something kind of a mix of both worlds. Ooh. So it's going to be kind of like not full-on boot sort of a situation, more just kind of like a leg wrap with shoes underneath. So it's a weird combination of what I'm trying to design. So you could maybe call it an overcomplicated looking design for a boot, but that's what I'm going to go with. Because I already kind of got the basic lines thrown out ahead of time before I hit my reference material. So, uh, we're just gonna be making it look like something weird. That's Telek anyway. He's a weird Turian. He's a Turian with a few screws knocked loose thanks to just one too many uh, concussive accidents. Uh, his particular line of expertise, uh, concussive incidents can happen quite often. I don't know, is that is part of it is part of this line. Here we go. A little accidental uh, line art. This button. It's gonna be the death of my art. So how do we want to make this kind of look shoe-ish? How do we add in shoe elements here to the foot. That's what we want to decide. So, we kind of need something a bit, soul-like. And it's also how much do I want to implement details into the foot here. So I'll get just a little bit of something like that to denote shape. I think for right now I'm just going to leave that alone. We'll finish the other foot. Something like that. There we go. Zoom out. Looking good. Get that sketch line out of there. Alright. Finish up our Spectre. Mr. OPEC. Like back in the day, I didn't realize, like what was it? There is the OPEC like oil company or something like that. Wasn't aware of that until like just recently. Like, wait a second, isn't there something called OPEC? It's not like a big oil company or something like that. Okay. So I was just trying to think of some interesting names for these alien characters. That's just maybe too much. So we got to show that this is coming off there. It's a little detail that I guess like nobody but me would probably have really cared about. Okay. Let's finish this limb. Right there. Fingers right on that button. One wrong movement and it's over. The whole image will get ruined. I'll have to start over from scratch. Hours worth of work. Down the gutter. Down the gutter. Scratch it all. Actually do save it. Save the save often. There was a period years ago where just the application was unstable uh, for me, and I think this was before I bought the full version, so I kind of had the free demo version of it, and it was just it got to be very unstable. It would crash all the time, so I definitely learned like save often. That taught me to save often while working on comics or images and stuff like that. Fortunately, when I kind of bought the full version, I rarely experienced that. So, it's very nice that the full version was not as crashy. Which is good, because, like, I spent money on that. Okay. curvy there. Ooh. Go. Feel we're getting close to the end of the line art with the characters. It's always a fun milestone to reach. I might just jump straight into doing the coloration on them. Just because the coloring is the best part. The background and stuff like that is always the worst part. I take some joy in the sketch work. Quite often I love the look and design of sketches, the aesthetic of sketches. Uh, Doing line art, it can be kind of therapeutic. You just kind of zone out and follow and just trace the character. But the fun part is always just let's add the color to it. Let's bring it to life. It always goes by the fastest. So let's see. There we go. Oh, there's one more little bit of line art we really should do. And that is with the ropes here. Just try and get those. So if we don't do them now, we're not going to like doing them later. And it's just a cartoon style doing this, so they don't need to be super detailed at all. Kind of get away with some wonkiness with it. But have it be recognizable as what it's supposed to be. This one will kind of go down at angle and then curve it a little bit. Not too much. This one will be down. And then we'll curve it up. And I'm going to have to try that again. There. Some thickness. A little bit of thickness, not too much. Here, like that. And we'll call this the last one. Have it come in like so. Zoom out. Alright. Alright. Now, go ahead, keep the sketch area there. But now we'll go on to the fun part. Alright, we'll have some fun now with the coloration. Where's the correct marker that I want? Is it this one? It's this one. Yes, it's that one. That's the correct one I want. Yeah. Size is ridiculous. Let's bring that down. Let's go 4 for start. And yep, that's about where I want it. Start coloring in. And, well, we're done with that color. That was fast. Alright. This one, I think, for his carapace. We will have to get rid of the sketch layer for a short while, which has revealed to me Spot we gotta clean up on the line art right there. Alright. Here we go. Let's get our boy colored in. Looking good, looking sharp. Just realized I think I'm... Yes, I am missing something in the line art. So I have... Um, yeah, we need that. So, I have his left side mandible, whatever those are called on Turians. I have no clue what the technical term really is. But I do not have his right one. It kind of blended in on the sketch layer with the collar on his shirt, surprisingly enough. So let's see if we can change that up just a little bit. Have it in there. And still kind of have where we had the collar. So, just figuring out keeping it in line enough with angles and things like that. So there it is. There it is. Now, back to the coloring. Back to your regularly scheduled crayon session. Now this is paintbrush session. No crayons here. I have never liked drawing with crayons. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. I have never liked drawing with crayons. Pencils and stuff, markers, yeah. Even though I think they kind of, markers are tricky. They're just tricky. But I'd rather work with markers than crayons. Green, which green are we going with? I think that green. Or that green. We'll go with the lighter green. I think he kind of had the lighter green. It's just slightly lighter, but I'm pretty sure that's the green that we had. He is part of green team, so we gotta have green colors on our characters. Green team is just a recurring team name that I've had for since youth group playing Halo 2 System Link multiplayer with at youth group. It's like we always went to green team, me and my friends, and that's just what we've been ever since. And I've used it here and there, even in my story stuff. So this was the N7 green team. I think we're going with that blue, which I think is that blue, but let me just double. Nope, it's this blue. It's one thing I don't like about on this version of the application. I can't have my entire color palette in one spot, one screen, one easily accessible, viewable screen. So, kind of inconvenient. Not terribly, but it is. What the heck? Stupid button. There we go. That. Take a look at it some more. This gray. Here. I think this was tan. Nope, that was the same yellow. It's like even with characters that I know because it's been a while. It's like I want to make sure I'm using the correct colors from the palette. Especially since I've got, shades. So a lot of the more recent characters, Rashia, Richard, Jack, the Bione characters, a lot of the Worlds Apart characters, I know them fairly well. Their color palettes a lot more uh, well known. They're instilled in me a lot better. There, now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this part, so the feet are gonna be the gray. The shoes, the feet shoes are gonna be gray. And then the leg wraps are gonna be kind of a uh, beige or tannish color. Let's try that. That's dark enough without being too dark. I'm almost tempted to just have him be barefoot. It makes sense. Like part of me is like, if I were to ever be able to actually do the storyline uh for this comic book cover that I'm drawing right now. So I'm tempted to have him like come the major conflict portion of it. That's just the wrong color I want. Uh, have him go the uh, James T. Kirk, William Shatner, uh, ending up shirtless during the final act. As the fighting goes on. I was tempted to go that route with Telek. Still am. Uh, I know there are people that are all for the you know shirtless Turian art. Okay, so seeing the final grand scheme, whether I stick with that particular color or I might swap to this other color. So we could do a quick look, which that just totally ruined everything because that colored way too much. But you know, I might swap to that. It's a little more gray. So anyway, let's finish up. Look here. Okay, wasn't showing me the brush icon on the screen, at the cursor. So do I actually have it equipped? Go with the almost white, but not fully white. And then with the markings, face markings, I was going to a pencil thing and do it so that they're not full on in there. The button would cooperate. At least on the top portions there. Everywhere else, I'll kind of fill in a bit more. but I'll kind of leave them a little hazy, a little sketchy towards the bottom there. I don't know why that just gives the look I want for him. And I need to clean up a little bit here. Just got a little too carried away, but it's all good now. It's all good now. All right, Mr. Hanar. Let's put that on the right layer. Hanar are easy. They're just big pink critters. Gelatinous blobs. Yeah, see, that's what you want to do. You just want to grab the image and shake it a little bit. Get some of the loose bits off. Just a little bit like an etch-a-sketch. Just take it and just kind of... Yeah. Make sure the color really gets down in there in between the lines. Just kind of, all right, get in there. I'm missing a line here. I am. Now you wonder, how exactly do ropes tied around Hanar's legs, while also being tied around to another individual, keep them completely tied up and unable to do anything? See, those are questions you're not supposed to ask. You're supposed to just suspend your thinking as well as your, your belief or disbelief, whichever one you go with. Yeah, it's suspension of disbelief. That's the term, the phrase. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty portion of the live stream. We're well over an hour now. I'm leaning in over. I'm hunched down. I'm striking the thinking pose. Resting my chin in my hands as I'm going through here, really analyzing and going through. In this way, I can motion and talk with my hands a little bit. A large part of it's also coming down. It's like my voice is drying out now. I don't think people, maybe pick up on it so much during the gaming streams. The Friday night game streams. I was like, once I'm over an hour into the thing, uh, I've talked more than I've talked all that day. I have no clue how messy, how much I'm falling out of lines yet with this step. We'll see once we start trying to piece together some of the background, which probably not going to get a whole lot of that done. We'll get the base stuff done for sure. Kind of a good feel for what it should look like. Now, rest of his suit, we're going to go with this black here for his harness here. Black there. This is going to be a red highlight right there. It's supposed to be kind of like a red light on the armor, the harness portion. This actually needs to be black right there, so I'll tackle that. And I think we're just settling with this gray right there. And since we kind of determined in the line art that this was just on the legs, I need to add that one little bit of pink. Red. There we go. Okay. Just the detail, a little bit of something there. And now, okay, that's the color I had for the facial markings. Sort of this color, I believe. That looks right. If not, oh well, it is now. It is for this image. Clean up. All right, now, I want to make these kind of more like a steel rope, not just a rope. So something that's supposed to be more steel-like. So, do I go with this, or do I go with... Let's try that one. I know immediately they don't look like they're a whole lot different, but some slight changes, not only just the brightness, but just even the general hue of the gray. Well, no, gross. Get it too small. Ta-da! Return that to normal. Alright. We get this done. I'm going to attempt to do some work on the background and the vat of nanomachine chemical that they're suspended over. Just to kind of try and get more of the image compiled before we run out of time this evening. So, outside of the shading, there's our characters. That's where they're at. That's the position, the colorations, you know, kind of familiar with them. There we go. So, going to hide those layers while I work next. First, on this vat here. So I need to bring a new layer here for the front portion of the vat. And then I'll have another layer behind the characters for the back portion of the vat. So 2 portions of the vat. First up, the front portion. We need to bring back our circle tool and try and get it sized and lined up with kind of what we had on that sketch layer. Called right about there. We're going to make that nice and bold. So we'll go 3.5 is I think where I want to put that. Yes, we're on black. Zoom. Really get that nice and bold there. Compare that character lines. I might even go to 4. Just a little bit thicker lines is what I want here. Bring this up. And we will shrink it down just a smidgen. Yep, just like so. Because it's tapering away from our viewpoint for how we're doing this. Oh, yeah, there it is. Curve ruler. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I like this. I've not had this before. Ooh, ooh. I could get in trouble with this thing. Ooh. Found a new favorite tool set. Boy, if I had this years ago. Ooh, man. Okay. Thing is, making sure you're grabbing the right node for some of this stuff. Went over just a little bit more. So know where I have on the sketch layer some lines drawn in there. But as I'm doing the actual line work, I need to kind of reimagine where those things need to be. Yeah, I like that. That worked out well. That worked out really well. So much well that I'm so glad I looked at that tool. Down with this layer, we got that. Here. Gonna be a little funky right there, but can't help it too much. Really zoom in to work on this bit right here. It's going to get kind of narrow right there, so what I can do is just kind of adjust it again, ever so slightly. Nobody but me sees the changes. That's for my own mental well-being. There we go. There's that outward framework there. Let's clear that in. Let's try and think what kind of gray. We just kind of go that metal gray. Do. So happy I found that tool. Now I'm gonna wish I had that tool on my MacBook version of the software. That's an old version of the software. Doesn't have some of the neat tools. At least my entire color palette is in one spot. So that makes it superior. Maybe let's try 6. What did I do? What did I hit? No. What sequence of weird button combinations did I hit to bring up the self-destruct sequence? The only self-destruct sequence I need is right here in this pen. The confounded button. There we go. That did not take near as long a time as it could have, which is very good. We don't want that to take too awful long when I'm working on background stuff. Alright, so there's the foreground of the vat. Now, do the layer for the reverse portion. Alright, come back to you, Mr. Tool. Mr. Curve Ruler Tool. So glad I found you. That was awesome. Truly awesome. Alright, now we have, let's set it for, yep. There There we go. This portion probably won't take quite as long. Uh, right, gotta slim it down just a bit. Actually, going to bring it up. Yeah, I'm trying to keep in mind perspective on some of this here. So we kind of have to have it slim further back. There we go. And since a lot of that is hidden behind our top layer, I don't have to worry about cleaning that up a whole lot. That works out very well. Um, where we will have to do cleaning up though, is as we do the added lines in the back. So back to our fun tool here. Whee! Okay, so I think I'll kind of stick with doing, maybe on this one I'll follow these lines here, these three lines here. So I'll have one here, here, here. So let's see how we get that to look. All right, we're on the other layer, that's good. So boom. Actually, don't want that curved quite so much there at the bottom. Not as much. Let's move him. Just enough so we got a little bit of a perspective change there. Now we gotta. Ooh, watch out there. And one more. That will be a little more curved. Just a little smidgen, not a crazy amount. There we go. Now we gotta clean up just a little bit. An outrageous amount. Not like on the last one where I had to do a little more, cause just boop, 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 and we're, if the little exit icon would work, and done. Throw in our color, or this side of it. That was that color. So I already forgot what color I was using. That's not good. Get zoomed out enough so I can see all the way down to the edge of the image. So I have to zoom out and move around a whole lot. That won't be fun. Not that we haven't done that a lot already. a little bit more. There's that. Go ahead and bring our characters back into full coloration there. Man, how do I want to tackle this first? Because I know I still have some more work here with this. So on to kind of bring the back portion out of focus there. We need to kind of throw in our supposedly what's kind of a uh, supposed to look like acid sort of a situation, but it's not really acid. Go with do that dark green and just really maybe this would be better with the pen tool. No, I'll stick with the pencil tool for right now. We'll actually completely hide that. And just kind of get a little crazy with kind of sort of try and go for some liquidy looking stuff here. And see what it looks like. Because I'm going to try and add a little bit of a glow to it. At this point, I'm just going to try and get the general look and feel, because I know I don't have time in the next 15 minutes to completely finish up this image. I'll be finishing up this image in my off spare time, and then I'll be probably sharing it to the various places. So I'll try and share the finished version on here, because I don't know when I'll actually have time for another art stream in the immediate future to finish this off, and I would like to just kind of get it going and get it done without it falling off to the wayside for another 10-15 years. That would not be fair to this image. So I will work at getting the overall gist and feel for this. I need to put that on another layer so you have a good sense of what it will look like as we get closer to it being done, what the final product should look like. And even this green, I think I'm going to have to really lighten it up, get it more of a lime green. That's kind of the color that I originally envisioned, because this is too green apple green. We need lime green. We need thicker marker to speedify this on up. So then what I thought process hitting me here. We'll take this. I guess I need to bring up this tool here. And mess with this a little bit. Something like that. Alright, I have my airbrush tool. I don't know just how big that is, but there we go. That kind of adds a little, you know, almost some murkiness and some weirdness to the liquid elements to this. I like that. I like that. That helps. That helps. We are gonna give that a bit of a see-through element to it. there's that. Probably not quite as much. What's our visibility here at? I want that at 60. So pretty close. Pretty close, but it's not right at 60. And so I'm not pleased with it if it's not right at 60. Come on, finish moving the layer down. Going to throw in a nice blanket color for the background. Next, the complete background there. As I do some more work here on the vat of mystery liquid. So I'm going to add in the glass effect next on this. The glass effect working on this Mass Effect fan comic cover for a fan comic that unfortunately, why'd I close that tool set? Why'd I close that one? If it sees the light of day, you know, if I ever actually draw it, will be so far down the road. Go away, Mister. Not when I wanted to have activated element. I don't know what you would want to call that. So there we go. So there's our glass effect. You know, I've been wondering, what? Well, that's just because it's not at the right transparency level. There we go. I can add more detail to it later, kind of shine and shadowing to it. So then we got to do same thing down here. Whee! This, like above, 30. There we go. It doesn't look like a whole lot right now. It's just a whole bunch of gray and stuff like that. But, you know, throw some effort into it with some shadings and trying to add some lighting elements, and that will come to life eventually. That's the plan. So we haven't even really tackled any shading elements. So now looking at kind of where I started envisioning sort of a catwalk situation up here, I think what we should do is, and like always, we're going to add another layer. And let's see here. I used that color, so let's do that color. And I'm going to use straight ruler this time. Angle a little bit more like so. I'm trying to get nice broad stuff right now. Chew. Just completely eyeballing it. Yeah. Let's do. Just want to get that dark. And then do. What's the size? That's the size it's at. Okay. I'm experimenting, seeing. No. What I should do. Duplicate. move one physically down. So something like that. And then I'm going to go over that layer with the airbrush. Like so. I'm going to try and have that angled as like the underneath the catwalk, the platform. So then no, too much. Half of that. And cut that out. And cut that. Now, just thinking about it, throw in that over here. Sort of a reddish tint here. I'm going to add in this upper portion here with the airbrush. So, need that to be nice and large. I think that's large enough. Experiment with this here. Kind of want lightened up here a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to experiment with this a little bit, get it just right. A little bit of a rich tint, but then we gotta go back over, or we could do some of that. That could help. Something like that. And with it being maybe darker color down here. Yeah. So whenever I work on the backgrounds, I always default to airbrush. I tend to like how that starts turning out better than a lot of other things. So, yeah. That's starting to bring something, kind of giving some hints of some structure a little bit. But that catwalk is going to need a lot more attention eventually. It will. For sure. For sure. So let's see here. This is our glass layer. Let's go ahead and just kind of give it a little bit of, keeping it like almost pitch black there. So we're just gonna kind of just a little something here. a little bit more depth, but we'll need to work more on shading and things like that. So once we start delving more into the shading, but that's kind of the about the general feel and flow. So this is kind of where I'm imagining catwalks. This is where I got the characters and stuff like that. The vat. So closing in. It's kind of it's a uh, much further along than all the way at the start when all we had was, you know, just the one sketch layer all the way. Oh, deleted the sketch. Hid the sketch layer all the way back to here. This is what I started out with. This is what I had. Kind of finished as of years ago. I was like, all right, time to put something together on that. Time to start fitting uh, a new image together with these characters. And might as well finish something I started a while ago. Now, I'm already picking out details I need to clean up on here. It's like, that's bugging me. You know, just these little bits on the color level are bugging me, but they're so easy to fix. So I'll tackle them right away. So, but yeah, fortunately, kind of hitting the end of the time frame here, but ultimately, not a bad amount of work to get done in the brief window that I had available for this evening. I'm going to definitely work on this some more and share finished results. So whenever I get around to that, unless I decide to actually just hold off and finish it off in another art stream, but I'm not sure about that. I'd rather just actually get it done. So we'll see. You'll know if the finished version of this image pops up in the next week or two, or if there's an announcement of the next art stream. But we better go ahead and save all our progress. And I'm going to start wrapping it up for this week. So, hope you enjoyed this, uh, you know, uh, once in a while, the art stream sessions, the normal Friday evening gaming sessions, like the post earlier in this week. There is none tomorrow. There will not be a gaming live stream tomorrow. So the next session of me playing through Psychonauts 2 will be next week, barring any unforeseen circumstances popping up and delaying it. But as of right now, I'll be going back to regular schedule next week on the Friday night stuff. So the art streams, those ones are going to be uh, they'll get planned more so a week in advance, but there is no set schedule for these. Um, so just kind of tune in whenever you see them pop in if you can. So I hope you enjoyed getting to kind of see some creative process, some of my just senseless ramblings on the characters, and just to make noise. But that will be it. I will call it an evening, and see you in the next live stream or the next gameplay video that goes up on the channel that doesn't get any views. It may get some views, single digit views or something. But anyway, that will do it. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your work week. Going into the weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm planning on doing that myself. Really hope to. And I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.